Please. Don't hurt me.
If you have sex with me, then I will feel that you can be trusted, and then I will let you go.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Criminal Psychology Files. My name is Greg Stewart, and today's story is about a woman who was stalked for 13 years, and then one night, this person decided to kidnap her and hold her against her will in a created bunker in a storage facility. This is the story of Samantha Stites and Christopher Thomas, an obsessed man that really believed that this woman wanted her, despite her pushing him away on numerous occasions. This is that story. Now, before we get into the story, please subscribe, like, and share. Now, let's get on with the story of Samantha Stites and the survival and the techniques that she used from her background in social work to free her from this captor. Thank you. Our story begins when Samantha first met Christopher Thomas in a Christian youth group back in 2011. She was kind, empathetic, and approachable. He was quiet, awkward, and immediately fixated on her. I'm wondering, she's always looking over at me if she's into me. It looks like she is. I'm definitely into her. These were the thoughts that were going through Christopher Thomas's mind. And Samantha did catch on to it, but she thought he was just awkward. She just thought, he's looking for attention. And I'm good at sensing people because, frankly, I work as a social worker. I've had training, and maybe I could help boost his confidence. So by friending Christopher Thomas, he got delusions of grandeur. Hey, Samantha, do you want to go to a couple games? I have tickets to the Detroit Red Wings. I thought you can come with me. I really can't, said Samantha. I have other things I have to do that's priority. Okay, some other time. Samantha not thinking anything of it. She thought that they would see each other as a friend. But Christopher, he didn't think that way. Next thing you know, Samantha's playing soccer. She enjoyed soccer. She enjoyed other things too. But she began to notice Christopher hanging around. And she didn't want to burst his bubble or go up to him. She didn't want to make him feel more awkward than he probably was feeling. So she avoided. But the stalking kept coming and coming. And she started telling her friends, I don't know what to do. And she would be out with these same friends, one gentleman and a couple girls. And finally they said, if you're not going to talk to him, perhaps I would, because it looks like he's following us on his motorcycle right now, which he was. So they pull off the road and they say, look, what's your problem? I just happen to be going down this way. We've seen you do this for quite some time now. So at this point, Christopher, at that moment, looked like he got the hint, but it would still connect with Samantha, still connect to the point that maybe it's time that we get someone to talk to him, maybe the police, maybe a court restraining order, something. Because I remember on one occasion, Christopher had emphasized that he did beat someone up once. So he does have a history or a tendency for violence. So at this point, Samantha goes through with getting a protection order done. And for at least some time, she was able to have peace of mind. 6 years to be exact. Now you would think this would be enough for Christopher to move on. But we have a saying as coaches, and that saying goes like this: with rejection comes obsession. So at this point, that's exactly what happens here. Christopher is rejected, but in his mindset, she's really being influenced. She loves me. We had a connection. I know I could win her back, or I already really do have her, but her friends got involved. They stopped me after following me when I followed them on the bike there, on the motorcycle. And so she loves me. They're just interfering because they want her back as their friend, but she belongs to me. So here's this mindset. Here's the way this person is thinking. So what do they do next? They get out of probation, or they get out of this stay order, stay away, I should say, not even probation. And from this point, they say, I'm free. It's over. I can't be arrested. Now the truth can be revealed. And that truth comes into the form of, okay, there she goes. Well, during this time, she's not going to be able to resist me, even if there was some denial. I'm fitter now. I lost all that weight. I'm lean. I am in shape, but I'm mad at her. She really has to do a lot to prove to me that she even deserves me. So he starts following her, and he follows her because he's put a tracker on her car, but it didn't just stop there. He put a tracker also on her friends' vehicles. So wherever she is, I'll know. Now, he joins the soccer league. Never really had any influence with it, but during that time, he got a little in depth. He said, "Okay, I'm a little more in depth now to this, so I'm going to do this." And she even came up to her coaches. She was like, "Oh my God, you see that guy there? He used to stalk me, and I'm not comfortable with him being here." Well, is there a restraining orders? Well, we had one, but that duration of time has passed. Well, legally, I cannot do anything. He has this right to be here. So now Christopher is a part of the soccer team, and he's playing, but he's not really playing for the ball. Every time she is going after a ball, he makes sure to be over there as well. But not only is he over there, he's pretending to go for the ball, but he's really making contact on her. And then he's even making faces to her, like, aha, and showing aggressive energy. At this point, she took herself out of practice. She took herself out of the games. She just didn't want anything to do with this fellow anymore. So she ended up, again, being controlled, because that's what's happening here. When you are not living your life the way you want to because of fear, anger, or any of the above, and you stop doing what you normally do to have a normal life, well, this is called the person is now controlling you. And even when you are away from this person, and what's going to happen is you're going to talk to your friends about him. You're going to talk about anybody in your life about Christopher Thomas. And guess what? He's out doing his thing. And yeah, maybe he's obsessing, but when he's not with you and you're still talking about him, you're still giving him power. And that's exactly what happened, until finally Samantha said, you know what? I had enough. I'm not dealing with this person anymore. So she was in a bar with her friend, and he walks in, and the girlfriend goes, can we just get out of here? Look, here he is right now. I just, no, we're going to have a good time. We're going to finish our drink, and we're not going to let him not only control me, but now control you. So they had their drinks, and they get away from the bar. And she goes, let's go up to my rooftop. Goes up to the rooftop, looks down. There he is patrolling. But again, he could say, I'm walking the streets. He could say, it just happened to be a coincidence because I parked over here or I parked over there. It doesn't really matter. They don't have any leverage at this point. But leverage would come, unfortunately, in the form of Christopher stalking. And the evening of October 7th, 2022, Christopher breaks in to Samantha's home and kidnaps her. So now imagine sleeping. Imagine though you think you hear something and you look up, and in the shadow is this person, and adrenaline is running, but you have an idea at this point. Here it is, this person. So he closes your mouth, puts tape over it, ties you up, and gets you out of your apartment, gets you out of your house, gets you out of your home, which is exactly what happened here. So now he takes Samantha, and she has no idea. She has, I believe, a blindfold on, but she could see somewhat. But she's so intelligent that as they're driving, she goes, okay, we're going forward. We've been driving, I would assume, about 5 minutes. He just made a left. Okay, we're continuously driving. Now we made a right. Okay, we're continuously driving. Now we made another right. Okay, now we're at a stop sign. Now we're here pretty long. It's probably a light. Okay, and so on. You get the point. So she starts thinking about the direction of where she's headed until finally the vehicle stops and she sees it's dark, but she hears a sound of like a garage opening or like a storage garage opening. So next thing you know, she looks and she's in this area that is now not part of this garage that she thought she was in, but a bunker. So the person takes her through. She feels herself going through a doorway. Now a light can come on. You can remove the tape, and he goes, "Just want you to know everything is going to be cool. I brought you here because I just want to talk." Well, it could have been a lot easier, Christopher, if we just met up and talked. Well, you didn't want to connect with me, Christopher. The way you were doing it was a little scary. I didn't have no idea. I know you were coming up to me, but there's a way to talk to people by coming up to them instead of following them everywhere. And how did you know every place I was? Ha 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 ha. I put a tracker on your vehicle, and I put a tracker on your friend's vehicle, and I put a tracker on your other friend's vehicle. I knew where you were all the time. Again, you could have talked to me. So what is it there? Well, first I want to tell you, he says to her, about everything that you've put me through. See, he now sees himself as the victim. He sees himself as the victim. I bought tickets, and you see this? Brings out a Detroit Red Wing shirt. See this shirt? It's also known as a jersey. I purchased this for you. You would have got it that night if you only went to the hockey game with me, but you didn't, did you? So she's hearing this aggressive nature in his voice. She's hearing this tension in his voice. Now, all of a sudden, what comes next? Now, what's coming next is what's in this for me now? Because I am the victim. You owe me something because you made me believe, you made me feel, despite what you're saying to me now, you're saying, no, we're just friends. No, well, I don't even feel a friend should treat each other like that. But I believed, and you led me on to believe we have a connection. Well, I'm really sorry about that, Christopher. I had no intention of doing that whatsoever. Well, you did. And if you want out of this, you know, the only way to do is to give me something in return. Like what? Am I going to get out of here, Christopher? Well, the only way I could really trust you, because right now I'm nervous. Right now I'm scared. I did something against my own better judgment because of the emotion you put me through. And I feel the only way is to prove that you love me, to feel that love, and to feel that love in the point that you have to give me sex. And once we have that sex, I think you're going to have a different perception on this relationship. But she's feeling trapped now. She's feeling, okay, I lowered his guard. I'm not freaking out. I'm not screaming. I'm talking to him, but I know he could be aggressive. I know he could be violent. And this is the only alternative. What happens if I don't? Does he take it anyway? I really don't want to go through that more aggressively. Or is he going to kill me? So all these fear factors are pointing through her body and her mind to the point that she goes, the one thing I will say that when I did get to know him, if I have to connect on patterns, and this is what Samantha was feeling, if I had to connect on his patterns, he is and has been, even in his most psychotic criminal ways, he has been loyal to his word. So she really had to think hard. Okay, I will give in to your demands, Christopher. I will give in to your demands if you promise that you are really going to let me go. So let me get this straight, Samantha. You're going to give me sex. Yes, if I let you go. That's the only way. You said it yourself. And I know you're a person of integrity. I know you're a person of your word. So she plants these embedded words in his head so he connects. Now, his way of connecting was, okay, I'm in, but you have to shake on it. You have to shake hands with me right now, and that will solidify a deal to me. So she shakes his hands, and she carries on with this act against her will. And she's had all these thoughts. Hopefully it will go quick, this, that, or otherwise. But her mind, she couldn't even become numb. She just starts crying during the act. And this animal finally does what he had to do, what he came there to create, bonds her, puts her basically, in the car, and then lets her go. And you could see from where she was, which was there. So I should say he unbonded her, if you will, puts her in the car and lets her go. And you could see on the surveillance cameras that she went one way, he went the other way. And for some delusional, crazy mindset, now we don't know if he was still going to continue to stalk, but that was the thought Samantha had. But she eventually, without him tracking, found a way to get to the hospital to do a rape kit. In the meantime, he figured she probably was the best time of her life. She loves me now. I think that we can actually have something and we can move on. Little did he know, she's preparing for the next stage. And the next stage is to talk to the authorities in reference to this matter and the hell that she went through. So after going through what she needed to do at the hospital, the police then start questioning her. And the officers say, you know what, we've been around this for a long time. This woman is straight up honest. We could just tell, we got the vibe, but we have also resources. Samantha gave plenty of resources to back up what she said, despite the rape kit and what it retrieved, but also just the way calmly, though emotional, she broke things down. So they begin their investigation. They begin to, just within, I believe it was 22 hours after the fact, October 8th of 2022, they start looking for Christopher and they find him and they bring him in. And of course, like any animal, they're going to deny. And then when it started to look like, well, they are going to get me. They have some things. I'm not giving them anything. He was mostly giving generalizations. And then when he had to confirm that there was some sort of relationship, this was always our thing. We like fantasy. This had nothing to do with whatever she told you. That's a fabrication because she got overwhelmed because it was a fantasy that gone basically too intensely than we both anticipated. We were role playing and it evolved to this. It's nothing to do with what she's saying. So that's how you explain the hooks on the wall. That's how you explain the gag ball. That's how you explain all these things. This was a fantasy gone bad. Absolutely, officer. Can you explain then months, years back, because this has been going on for 13 years, and this is the end date today, buddy, but that you were stalking her, she had to get a protection order then? How does that play into this? I couldn't tell you. I could tell you that we got involved after the fact. You've seen me in her sports, you've seen me at this. There were no problems. She was participating. You know why? Because we had a thing going. And now all of a sudden, one thing led to another, and she's trying to blame because I guess it just went too heavy for her. But that's the truth. Well, I'll tell you what's the truth. We have a rape that we can tell through a rape kit. We have a kidnapping because we could see you coming in. We don't see her coming into this storage slash bunker on her own free will. We see a vehicle leaving after the fact, but prior to that, we see that we have all these supplies that you created this bunker that you say it was for protection. Then it goes from protection from what? In case what? We have a war. So you go from that to now it's our fantasy lab. So your stories are not congruent, they're not connecting. So therefore, I'm not feeling it. We're going to book you today. And then this goes into the court of law, and these resources also back things up. But there was a plea deal, and the plea deal was lesser charges. This scared Samantha because not only was she in fear for her life, but future women as well. Because he basically, I think the kidnapping got done, there was stalking, or it was stalking and kidnapping, but the rape was 86th to make a plea deal. That's the way he said he'll do it. So the big hope was that Samantha's attorney could coerce the judge to go higher on this sentence than it normally would for her fear of when he comes out, because he's already done that for the protection order and also for future other women as well. Well, the gods, the angels, someone had heard in reference to the universe above, and they said, you know what? You're getting 40 to 60. And that's the way it is. And should you get out, we will have a house arrest where we know for once where you are, opposed to you knowing where other people are. And that's where this story finally ends, is that this man, with all the damage and all the things that his criminal psychology has done. But what makes a person do this? Again, look at the IQing chart I set up before, but let's go in a little more in depth. What did you have to become? He was overweight when he met her. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but this developed a self confidence problem. Here comes a young lady, pretty, attractive, intelligent, smart, comes into his life. I've never had this kind of woman in my life there. I never could even be in this person's league. She's friending me. So his confidence goes up a notch. And there's also his delusion of grandeur. Then, as this evolves, he feels significant. He's meeting human need psychology. He feels connected. And now he wants even more. I feel growth potential. This could be the future Mrs. So and so. In fact, he was even reported and told to his mother that I have to have this woman, because his mother said, I think things are getting out of hand now, Christopher. Nothing on earth, and this was used in the case, will prevent me from not having her. So again, what makes that drive, that obsessive drive to have, again, what need? And that's what it comes down to. This person took what he wanted into a need and made it into a must to make him connect in any way, shape, or form. Remember what she said, Samantha said before. You have a sense of loyalty about you that we know when you put your mind to something, you stick by it. So she utilized that mindset of that drive to get what you want. You've lost your weight. You've searched and stalked me out. The words that you've said, a man of your word, you've done everything you said. She knew the pattern. She knew the pattern, and that's why she was able to utilize it against him. So, this is the end of this story. Please, once again, subscribe, like, and share. And until next time, have a great night or day wherever you are.